Here we go. Hello, our dear friends from Daily Magazine. I'm Alexander, and this time we're going to have our Star Talks with one of the most entertaining figures of the 70s and 80s. Here we have in front of us Precious Wilson from E-Ruption. Hello, Precious, and thank you for being with us. Thank you for accepting our invitation. How are you?
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to say I'm really well. Throughout this horrible pandemic, I've been well throughout, so I'm really grateful for that. I'm hoping that we're opening up again, and so we can get on with the shows. Get on with the shows.
Well, we kind of had, a little glimpse of getting back with the shows last week in Cluj in Discoteca 80s, where you performed. And what can you tell me? How did you feel on stage in Cluj? How did you feel the people?
I tell you, it was actually, for me, my first show since lockdown. In fact, we were in Romania when lockdown happened. We were in Bucharest, 5 hours away from the concert, which was sold out. Myself and Liz Mitchell from Boniam.
I think I remember that day. Yeah, it was like in
March.
Yeah.
March the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
And we had about 4,500 people who had bought tickets. And unfortunately, the government said,
it was a sudden decision.
No concerts over 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 4,500 tickets sold. And I felt awful because I could see the people lining up outside the concert hall, and the agent, they were like devastated. We were like, what do you mean there's no show? We're here. And then the following day we came back to London, and then about 2 weeks later there was lockdown. Lockdown in London. So it was shocking at that time. And so the show recently in Romania, the Discoteca 80s, I can't explain how excited and how joyful we were to know that, yes, the show is on. And I think you can see from the audience, I mean, I've seen some videos that people have filmed, and one particular lady sent me a copy, and the joy and excitement. And I felt a little bit bad because I'm sure they should have kept their mask on, but not many people had their mask on, But
let's not talk about that.
No. But I mean, it's so hard to sing and to express yourself, to dance and to breathe with a mask on. It's almost impossible. So I kind of understand it, and I hope everybody's okay.
I can also tell about myself. I tried leaving my mask on during the first steps of the show, and then when everything started and I started dancing and I started moving around, I was like, no, let it go.
Were you at the concert?
Well, I was first row there. Yeah.
Oh, you were there?
Of course I was there. How could I miss it?
Yeah, I thought you heard about it, but you were there. Oh, it was such fun. And the people were so great. Honestly, it was, for us on stage, it was so wonderful. I mean, that's why, as an artist, that's why you do shows. The people are with you, they're enjoying the music, they're singing, they're dancing. It was wonderful. We had a good time.
I think I saw that when you went barefoot. I was like, oh, Precious is really having a good time on stage.
Noah, I look back when I first started singing, because I've been singing since I was 16, and I don't know if you know my history, but I didn't plan to become a singer. I was born in Jamaica, and most Jamaicans can sing, they can dance, they're very athletic, they're good at sports, they're actually quite bright as well. And so, but my mother was great. She didn't stop me, she didn't discourage me. She kind of like said, well, give it a go, So for her generation, I have to say, as a Jamaican mother, she was very liberal. So I said, give it a try, go on. And I remember when the band E-Ruption, we started in London, and when we won a talent competition, and basically we came together as a band for fun. We just liked playing music, as a hobby. And then we heard about a talent competition, which we joined. And amazingly, we won this competition from about, 500 artists up and down England and Scotland as well. And we won a recording contract. And the record company did nothing with us because they had, bigger.
Yeah. You just won the record, the contract, and it was there.
We were the small fish and they had bigger fish on the label, and they forgot about us. But the problem was, I was lucky. I finished school that year, and the guys who were older than me, they gave up their jobs because the record company said, oh, you are professional now. You can't have another job. You've got to play music full time. And there was no work, no money. And so our manager at the time decided that, okay, there's a 2-week discotheque tour in Germany. And thought, okay, let's give it a go. It means we could get some money for at least 2 weeks. So we went to Germany, and that's how it all started. Germany was the right place at the right time, which was 1976. And we met the right person. The free.
That's where I wanted to get.
Yeah. And it was Frank Farian, Boney M's producer. Yeah.
So you kind of started at the same time with Boney M, with working with Farian.
But what happened was, this is a typical story for music business, right? Where everything goes wrong. We were with a booking agent who was taking probably more than 50% of the money, right? And then our bus with all our equipment and all the instruments broke down. It wasn't driving anymore. And we thought, oh my gosh, we finished the tour now with this guy. The 2 weeks was up, but the managers from the clubs, they really liked us and they wanted us to book us directly, but we didn't have the money to repair the bus, and times were hard. And where we stayed at a bed and breakfast, it wasn't a hotel, just a very small bed and breakfast. I don't know what you call it in your country, but you have breakfast and you have a room.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford to eat. So the owners of the bed and breakfast started making soup for us at lunchtime so that we could survive. But there was this musician staying in the same bed and breakfast called Kurt Hauenstein, who was in a band called Supermax. Kurt was a bass player. And we told him our problems. And he said, oh, there's a studio down the road. So we said studio because, we couldn't speak much German, apart from Guten Abend, Dankeschön, and so we didn't know about the studio. So he said, look, I do sessions there. I'll mention you to the owner. So he mentioned the studio owner that there's this band and, but it just so happened that Boney M had their first hit. I think it was Baby, Do You Want a Bump?
Yeah.
And I think it was in the charts in Holland. And they wanted them to do a TV show. And so Frank quickly put the members of Boney M together, and the song was becoming a hit, and he wanted them to start doing live tours. So he sent someone to come and check us out.
So he needed a support band.
Yeah. We got the job as their support band, and then there would be an intermission, and then we would change costumes and come on again as Boney M's backing band. I sang backing vocals, and the guys in my band, E-Ruption, they played the rhythm section. Then they added some brass and another 2 backing singers. So there was 3 of us on backing vocals, brass section, percussionist, rhythm section, and another keyboard player. And that's how we did our first European tours with Boney M by then it was 1977.
Wow, that's kind of a long time.
I know, before you were born. No,
Yeah, but
you look like it's before you were born.
somehow I would like, to just go back and see how those times really were.
Now, to be honest with you, I had the opportunity to contribute to a book about that era of disco music. And that was one of the questions, what was it like then? And it was, compared to today, compared to 2021, it was such a carefree time
Hmm.
where, there's a sense of freedom and a sense of joy, of a sense of just enjoying life. Um, and most of the artists from my era, from my generation, we often talk about how much the business and the industry and life, how much it's changed. But as I said, music has this amazing effect on the human spirit. As you saw in the concert recently. Um, and that was one of the sad things about lockdown and about the pandemic, because people couldn't go out. You couldn't go to a concert because, of course, in the music industry, the service we give to the world brings people together.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it comes to COVID, the last thing you want is to be together.
It's a
At the
paradox.
peak. I know.
It's
Yeah,
indeed a paradox. Yeah, yeah.
it's unbelievable. Can you imagine the frustration as an artist, as a creative, when you know that's what your heart wants to do, to make people happy and to make them smile and make them feel good. Suddenly,
And then
you
comes this,
realize
yeah, this virus comes and doesn't let you do that, doesn't let people do that.
exactly.
Yeah. So in this whole period of crisis, I don't know, we've been struggling with it for almost 2 years. What did you feel? What did you learn about yourself, and about the music industry? Did you take this time to rediscover yourself, or I don't know, how have these months passed for you?
Oh, I think you discover a lot about yourself. You discover a lot about the meaning of life, actually. You discover about, well, what is really important to me? Who is really important to me? Um, because there are so many people who sadly, were just not strong enough to fight
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
virus. And a lot of people lost their lives, and a lot of people lost their family members, their grandparents, etc. And so it made me realize that family is really important. It made me realize that you really, in the time that you have, and none of us knows how long we have, but you've got to use the time purposefully. Really, it's like every minute counts, every moment is important. And so for me, I thought, oh, what can I do? Okay, so I can't tour. So I wrote some more songs. I actually thought, what have I got that I could still be useful with? And so I started creating an online program for people to use their voice, because, okay, not everybody can sing, not everybody wants to sing. But sometimes you want to sing just for a joke, for a karaoke. Often people use their voice as part of their professional life. A lot of people went online, a lot of businesses went online.
Yeah.
So there were more people doing, podcasts, webinars. And so I created a program to help people with their voice to express themselves, using singing techniques to bring out, the star quality in their voice, and to find their own authentic voice. In the same way, like, if you think about all your favorite singers, there's something about the sound of their voice that connects with you, that resonates with you. And each of us have that, even when we speak, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
um, so it's to try and find your unique sound. If it's an accent, even if it's an accent, that makes you special because you have your accent. Like me, I'm Jamaican, But I've been living in London, since my family came to England when I was 7. So I don't sound Jamaican. I sound very London. And then I went to study in America when I was 14. In fact, that was when I fell in love with the voice, because I lived with my aunt in Hartford, Connecticut, and she was very strict. I was about 14 years old when I went to live in America. And I lived with my cousin, who was 3 years older than me. And my aunt would not let us go anywhere apart from church. And so I'd go to this Pentecostal church singing gospel music. And that was when I realized the beauty and the power of the human voice. So what I'm saying is, over lockdown, I've created this program where people can use their voice for speaking, just to express themselves, whether it's for a presentation, not just to sing. Of course, obviously, that's my main thing, singing, but also to help people use their voice to do presentations as well.
That's really interesting. And I think I'm interested in that because I really need to find my voice. As you can see, I have sort of a high pitch, which I've never gotten along too well with. I'm always quite intimidated by my own voice, even when I speak with important people and so on.
Yes.
And it would be interesting for me to take these classes.
Yeah, because actually, I tell you who worked on that. For example, the British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, in the 80s, first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. She spoke in a very high tone. If you look at videos on YouTube of her back in the 70s, she spoke much higher, in a higher register. But as the years went by and she became Prime Minister, she brought her voice down. The lady is not for turning. So she brought it way down because she was a woman that was surrounded by men in politics, in Parliament. And so it gave her much more authority when she brought the register down as a woman.
Definitely. And she eventually became the Iron Woman.
I know. She was strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's something I need to learn too.
Yeah, you can do it. I mean, it's just a case of knowing what to do and just to practice it and just to be conscious of how you sound when you speak, and just to kind of relax and bring it down and just, and it's just practice. I mean, although maybe you're supposed to have that voice, who knows?
Who knows?
You never know.
Maybe it's my particularity, It's
It's
fine. I know.
No, actually, it's a fact. The way we hear our own voices is different to how other people hear it. That's a fact. But I mean, I know for sure with voice technique, you can always improve your voice, for sure. Yeah.
I will try, I promise. So going back to retro music and disco, what do you think are, the most important things that make this kind of disco music from the 70s and the 80s and the artists that made it and that still play it, that makes it unforgettable?
Yeah, I think it was because a lot of those artists, they didn't have all the social media to help them to become success because of followers, because of friends on Facebook. You literally had to win each fan. You had to win their loyalty by proving to them that you were worth watching, that your music was worth buying. I mean, I look at these discs here, nowadays, sometimes, 10,000 downloads and you're number one. I mean, you had to sell hundreds and thousands. People had to go to the record shop, pay the money, take the vinyl individually to get these records in the charts. So you always had to work hard to prove yourselves, not only on record, but also as live performers. So I think that made a difference. And there was, you had to know what you were doing. There wasn't much help with all the software in the
Mhm.
studios where they can tune your voice into key, they can speed it up, they can make it lower. It was a raw, natural voices. It was real musicians playing the instruments. It wasn't a program. It wasn't a sample from James Brown or a sample from Hold On, I'm Coming, which somebody did and got a #1 record in Poland, sampling my first
Really?
solo song. Yeah.
I will look this
So
up.
yeah, it was a #1 record, and they sampled it from Hold On, I'm Coming. But anyway, I mean, it's a compliment. I take that as a compliment. They must really love it, and I do love that song too. But I think it was the humanization of the music. It wasn't sterile or computerized as
Mhm.
much as music is these days. Um, and I think most of the people really wanted to do it. So there was passion. They were passionate. Like Eruption. Oh my gosh, we took it so seriously, although it was fun, but we actually took it very seriously as a profession. Because before we went to Germany, if we weren't doing a show, which normally in those days was on the weekends, Monday to Friday, we were in the rehearsal room from 10 till 6 o'clock every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We only had a break like for lunch, or if we had to use the bathroom, or if the guys wanted to have a break for 5 minutes, have a cigarette or something. But it was like a factory. We just thought, right, let's do the song again. Let's run the show again. All right, oh no, that bass part was not good. No, let's do the harmonies. It was serious. We took it really, really seriously, because I think for us, for Eruption, what was the thing that really decided what we wanted for ourselves as a group was after months and months of doing shows where in smoky clubs, because in those days they could smoke in the nightclubs. And we used to get fed up of like the waiter would be serving the drinks to the people, the
Mhm.
audience would have their back to us. And we complained to our manager. We said, Danny, we don't want to do those gigs in those clubs where people are not listening. They're talking to their friend. We're trying to entertain them. They're all like this. He said, well, look, what you have to do is you have to decide if you want to be a dance band or a show band. So he thought, dance band or a show band? He said, yeah, if you want the people to stop and watch you, you've got to give them a reason to stop and watch and to listen to you. So I thought, wow, we better get some costumes. We better get some crazy costumes. We better do some choreography. We better do something, play songs that would grab their attention. And so that was the foundation of how we decided to do our shows. Yeah.
Mhm. That's really interesting, because nowadays many I don't know, many artists and many gigs happen like you said. I mean, people don't give too much credit to the artist. They're just, I don't know, background sound, someone on the stage who's doing something. While you're drinking, you're, I don't know, chatting, you're trying to get someone, a girl, a guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very interesting, and I like how much passion you put in music. I mean, what you said about rehearsing, it's like a full-time job, like a corporate job nowadays, but done fueled by passion. You were doing it because you wanted to do it, not because
Yeah.
you had a boss who would stay there and point the finger at you that you're not productive. You just wanted it.
No, we all started to play together because we wanted to. And I think one of the main differences with Eruption compared to Boney M was that Eruption came together
Mm-hmm.
because we wanted to play together. It wasn't like, oh, that person from there, that person. No. We met in London I think before we went to Germany, we had been playing together about 3 years, about 2 or 3 years before we met Frank. So we weren't put together. We wanted to play together because, it was like a little family, really. And so we've always taken it quite seriously, although obviously it's fun. And I mean, when I'm on stage, I like to have fun and make the people have fun.
Yeah, but it's part of the feeling, this having fun, as I saw it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's actually, I mean, I take it really seriously, because I feel that if the people have left their house to come to the venue, they've paid for the ticket, I feel that I have to give them a reason to say, oh yes, I enjoy the show. I want them to really have a good time. I don't want them to think, oh, I should have stayed home and watched YouTube or.
No, I'm sure that as for Cluj, everyone, just came home with one-way ticket in mind, and with your image, singing and having fun.
Yeah. Do you know, it's quite interesting though, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I am happy they love One-Way Ticket. I am so happy. But it's interesting. I've done so many other things, but that's still their favorite song. I've done I Can't Stand the Rain. I've done the title track to the movie, the Michael Douglas movie, The Jewel of the Nile. I've had other songs in the Billboard charts in America, but everyone just loves One-Way Ticket. I mean, I'm glad. I'm good. I'm very grateful. But yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but also I Can Stand the Rain. Also, there are lots of other songs. I mean, for those who know them, it's great. Yeah. But why do you think this happened? That that everybody goes crazy on One-Way Ticket, and maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say it like this, but on One-Way Ticket only.
Mostly, yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I could sing One-Way Ticket like 10 times, one after,
and people still go crazy
for the whole hour, and it would be still fine. I know. Why? I think there's something very, I mean, I find it difficult to put my finger on it, but the song, I think it's the chords, I think it's the tempo, I think it's the arrangement. I think maybe it's the way my voice sounds. It's almost something quite spiritual about it. And I say that because I can't think of the word to describe a song that breaks all the language barriers. It doesn't matter which country it is. I've been on holiday in Egypt, for example, in the cab, in the taxi, and it came up on the radio, and the driver turned it up louder. And I'm saying, oh, I said, that's a good song. He said, oh, yes, I love this song. I love this song. I said, oh, okay.
And he didn't know it's you who are singing it.
I just thought, don't say anything, just enjoy it with him.
Go with the vibe.
But I mean, in India, oh my gosh, it's and especially in Eastern Europe, which was amazing to us, because even though our record company in the 70s was in West Berlin, this was before the reunification of Germany. We would get invited to do shows in East Berlin, in the, oh my God, there's like a government concert hall. I can't remember the name of it. In East Berlin.
I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe Friedrichstadt Palace, or not?
Yeah, something like that. Where Helga Hahnemann, a famous East German actress, I did a show with her. Actually, it's on YouTube. Oh, maybe they've taken it down, because sometimes the publishers take songs down off of YouTube. It's so annoying. But we were shocked that our songs got into the Eastern Bloc. That when we did a tour of the USSR in 1989, I think it was, or 88. It was so, I could not believe I had sold out venues and they knew all the songs. We did not know that the music was getting into those parts of the world. And so, I still look back in amazement, and even to do shows still in Romania these days, I just say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. I just consider myself so lucky. Okay, sorry. Why this one-way ticket? Sorry.
No problem. We're here for talking, so
I love to talk, right?
We're here for this, so it's okay.
Sorry. Back to the subject, precious. Okay. I think it's just it's almost like a gift. It's like a gift to the world, that song. And I feel lucky that I was chosen to sing that version of it, because actually it was done before. When E-Ruption got the song, it wasn't that arrangement. It had been done before, so we covered it. But we arranged it totally with the piano intro and making the chorus, the refrain over and over, and I think in Eastern Europe, it's just the melody of the chord sequence, that it's almost like a folk song. It's like I don't know, people could just relate. And it has that effect everywhere I go to perform it. It's the same effect. I'm just amazed. I'm amazed.
Maybe, I was thinking right now, maybe in the Eastern Europe, it had this effect because it could have a little political message. It's one-way ticket. The Easterners maybe wanted a one-way ticket to the West.
I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying anything. But it's quite interesting, because when we did the tour in the USSR, they obviously checked who we were, who I was, whether I had any kind of negative background. I had to send all the lyrics of all the songs to the Bureau of Culture for them to check the words of every song. So I guess, they thought that our music was harmless.
Yeah.
There was nothing political. And it was interesting. Years later, some of those people from that era, 1978, 79, they told us how they used to meet in the forest to exchange vinyl records with each other. I said, really? He said, yeah, they had to meet secretly to play the music. And I thought, oh, I kind of felt that was really sad, that that's the only way they could hear it. But at the same time, when we did the tour, it was sold out, because finally people could actually see me perform live and bring, the music and the songs that they so loved, Yeah.
Yeah, I think those were some hard times. For me, being born after 1989, it's hard to imagine. It's really hard to imagine, because kind of the same situation was in Romania.
Yeah.
You couldn't have foreign records, easily in a shop. In a shop, you could, you just had to find them secretly. Have someone in the West bring them for you or something like that.
Yeah. And the other thing that really made me sad was that I remember doing the first concerts were in Moscow. It was such a tough tour. We did 55 shows in 7 weeks. And on the weekends, there'd be a double show on a Friday, a double show on a Saturday, and 2 shows on a Sunday. And then on the Monday, we would fly to the next republic. Thank goodness I was so much younger, so that made it easier. But often in the shows in Moscow, I remember seeing the people wanting to get up and dance, and they weren't allowed to dance. And I just thought, I was standing on the stage, there's me, come on, get up, everybody, get up. And all the soldiers were there, and I'm thinking, oh no, okay, sit down. I was so worried for them. And that was a strange thing for me then. I'm just thinking, why can't they dance? But they weren't allowed to dance, but they still clap, But what it taught me, because that was my first experience of Eastern Europe, what that taught me, and the shows when I started traveling to the different republics, the Ukraine and Poland and Czechoslovakia, it made me realize that human beings are the same everywhere you go. We have so much in common. Okay, yes, there's different languages and maybe different cultures, but essentially we have so much in common. And you notice this when you deliver music to people, to human beings. We're made of the same stuff. So yeah, it's I'm so glad I'm doing this for a living.
Yeah, and I must say also, it's for us, for the public, it's also thrilling to know all these. And as I've been thinking, listening, I'm listening to a lot of disco music, and I think it's kind of got this international, message. It's universal. It goes everywhere.
That is it. Universal language.
Yeah.
Music is a universal language. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to the history. How was the moment when you decided to get away from E-Ruption and take the solo career? And what do you think, what time was more fulfilling for you? The E-Ruption part, the solo part of your career?
I think every bit is important. I'm grateful for all of it. Because people don't understand how much we struggled. They think, oh, you're famous. Oh, you had all these popular songs. We had a hard time coming up in the business. We had some tough times with the business, touring, record company problems, management problems. It wasn't easy. And there were often times where we would drive, like say, for example, from Munich to Berlin, which is quite a distance, no hotels, you had to drive back, sometimes in winter, because there wasn't enough seats in the bus, two of us would have to go in the back of the bus with equipment, no heat, you're freezing. And that included me, because I thought, yes, I'm a woman, I was a young girl, but I thought, I want to be fair. So yes, my turn, 2 hours in the back of the bus, then you'd stop at the gas station, and then I would go in the front, someone else would go in the back, and we'd drive again for another 2. It was a tough business. And so I appreciated those times with E-Ruption as a band member, because I think it made me strong, not only as a performer, but kind of strong in my attitude to the business, because I think because the business is and was a challenge, and then you just overcome it, you think, oh, because, you have each other in the band, you think, oh, yes, we did this Swiss tour, we had the money in the briefcase, left it in the office, went on stage, locked the door of the office, went on stage, played the show, go back into the office, and the money from the Swiss tour was gone. And you think, what do you mean it's gone? Stolen. The whole money for the tour is gone. And you think, what? So we've had things like that happen to us. But I think because we worked so hard, it made my voice stronger. It made me a stronger performer. But it got to the point where the band, we were moving in different directions creatively. We had differences of which songs, who was going to write what, and then I just thought, you know what, it's probably better that we just go our separate ways, and they can do what they want to do, can get a new singer. And at first, when I left the band, I thought, I'll just go back to London and I'll get some singing lessons and learn to sing properly. This is after several albums. I thought, oh, I didn't learn to sing, so let me take a break now from the band, go back to London, get some singing lessons. But then I was offered the opportunity by Frank Farian to join Boney M.
Mhm.
And then I thought, I can't do that, because I knew that if I joined Boney M, one of the ladies would have to come out. And they were all my friends: Bobby, Liz, Maisie, Marcia. They were all my friends. So I said, no, Frank, I don't want to leave a band to join another group. I said, no. No, I said, I want to either do it solo or not at all. So then he offered me a solo recording contract. And as I said on this Boney M's album, that one, my first solo single appeared on that album as a special guest. And that was the song, Hold On, I'm Coming.
So it's kind of Boney M featuring Precious Wilson, if I'm not wrong. So, or it's just Precious Wilson appearing on a Boney M.
Boney M featuring Precious Wilson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you also, if I'm not wrong, you also appear in Let It All Be Music song, or not?
Yes.
I've listened to that a few times.
I know that was going to be my song, and then Frank said, "Oh, let's Liz and Marcia sing on it too." So
so it's again Boney M featuring Precious Wilson.
Yeah. So
both my favorites.
I love that song. I love it. So me, Liz, and Marcia are singing that. And Frank as well.
Frank, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So coming back to today and to how music is moving today, what do you think about how music is evolving currently, and what do you think is the future of music?
Yeah, I think one of the good things about how things are today is that a lot of artists don't necessarily need a record company. You can get your music out to the world because of the internet and because of all the different platforms since when I started. So in some ways, it's a lot easier to make music these days. But what has changed is that the record companies have changed in the sense that they no longer want to invest into artist development. When I started singing, they would give you some money in advance, and they would take time for you to develop as an artist. You'd spend time, in the studio getting the right songs for yourself, or writing the material yourself, or they would find songwriters to bring songs to you. And there was a little bit more patience. They took their time, and it was more organic. Now, because, with all these platforms, and
everything's moving so fast in life generally.
So far, there's so many charts now. I mean, when I was growing up, there was in England, there was one chart, and everybody would sit there on a Thursday evening. Oh, who's going to be number one? Now there's this chart, that chart, this chart, So that's changed a lot. So in some ways, it's easier to get your music out there, but it's not that easy to make money in the music industry anymore. It's not as easy as it is before, because record companies don't want to invest. So, you have to, but there are other opportunities as well, though, because so many things are online that films, Netflix, shows, programs, movies. So the other outlet is that artists, if you write songs and write music, they're always looking for music to add to films and library, and songs for shows of various different series, etc. So I think it's just evolved from what it was. But I do believe that people always want music. It's almost like there's it's a need, there's a yearning for it, because it's so powerful. Music has the the power to change the atmosphere in a room just by playing a song, you know, or a slow song, a classical song, a jazz song, a dance song. It can just switch your mood. So it's pretty powerful. So I believe that we'll always need it. And and I'm working on some new music myself, you know.
And what can
I'm working on.
Come on, now that you brought it up, you need to say something about it. What can we expect?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm hoping that we can get it out this year, but then we are almost in October. So it might not, because we've only got 2 months. So it might be, if not in the next 2, I think it'll probably be the beginning of next year. Because I am, I think if more likely the beginning of the new year. So yeah, I think people are ready for something new from me, and I've taken my time to do it, because I think you have to be more selective these days as an artist. I mean, Liz will probably tell you the same thing, you know, because we have much more control over the creativity now. And so you want it to be right, and you want the business side of it to be right, because, you know, we're not newcomers anymore. You know, I'm not that, how old was I? I Can't Stand the Rain. I think I must have been about 19, 18. I was a teenager when I sang that song. One Way Ticket was 1978, 79. Yeah, so I mean, I was very young. So you learn about the business, you know, as each year goes by. So now you have to make sure the deal is right. You know, I mean, I coach artists. They come to me and they say, "Oh, Precious, you know, I've got this manager and she wants this and that in the contract. What do you think?" You know, and I'll look at the contract and I'll say, "Well, don't do that." You know. So my experience has taught me a lot. So I'm very cautious. For me, if the deal's not right, there's no point, you know, because interestingly, from day one, I never went into the music business to be famous. I always did it because I loved it. And I know this sounds really naive and, oh my gosh, really? But I actually didn't even realize it was a business. I know, right? Duh. Oh my gosh, it's an industry? Really? But, you know, I have no regrets about my naivety in the beginning, because when I look back at some of these videos of the shows that I've done on YouTube or wherever, I see this innocent little girl just having a good time, you know. Whereas, like, if I had the hat on, you know, my business hat now, I'd be like, okay, did they send the money to the bank account? Where's the contract? My face would be like, they paid me late. I'm not going to smile.
So it would have lost a little bit of authenticity, or...
I'm kidding. I'm only joking. No, but what I am saying, though, this is true. This bit is true. I see this innocent girl expressing her love and her joy for it. And I've always focused on keeping that joy, even like the show that you came to see.
You're having it right now. What can I say? And I'm so happy. You know, you give me such a good mood.
Yeah. No. I refuse to lose my joy. I think joy is like a fire inside of me. It's like because really and truly, to be honest, I have so much fun singing and being on stage. I would almost do it for nothing. But because it's a business, you know, I mean, it's only fair that I say, okay, you know, it is a business, so we have to do the business. But I would,
please give me some money. You know, give me some money. But you know, I love it.
But yeah, I've got to buy some food. But no, I mean, when we're on stage, we're not thinking about the business. We're thinking about the people, as I said, who've left their homes to come and watch us, and that's all that matters. You know, when you're on stage, that's all that matters. You know, if you had a headache, you forget about the headache. You know, when I used to wear my heels, my shoes, my high heeled shoes, I didn't know how I did it when I was younger. But now it's a bit of a challenge, so I sometimes have to take them off. But I was going to say that even if your feet were hurting, you'd still be smiling. But now I say, hey, let me just take them off. Take the shoes off.
So to be sure, you're definitely smiling.
I don't have to worry about anything,
Yeah.
But yeah. But no, I mean, there is a joy in having the privilege to perform. And as I said, I was at school and I went from school into the music business. So I've never done anything else my whole life. I've only sung, So as you can imagine, in lockdown, during the pandemic, it was not a pleasant experience not being able to perform. So I'm so glad that we're being able to hopefully open up and continue as before, hopefully, as much as possible.
Hopefully as before, yeah. We'd love that, definitely. We'd love that. On both sides, the artist, the audience, because as I wrote an article about the experience in Discotheque 80s, I saw the people, everybody wanted to have fun, and they had been missing it. And you could see that on their faces. I was walking through the crowd trying to get some good spots to take pictures, and everybody was just happy. It was happy again. Okay, they were all concerned about the virus and so on, but happy. Happiness was the word.
I know. And it was good because they the other artists on the show, I've known most of them for years, So for me, it was nice to see them again. It was so good to see them again, that we're all safe and well. So that was such a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I had the opportunity to go backstage, so yeah. I had to meet Liz again. I've met her before the pandemic also. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't go backstage while you were still at the venue.
Oh no, don't worry. That's no worry. I mean, we're speaking now, so it's good.
We're speaking now, so the universe, had the plans for us to meet, and I'm thankful and I'm happy for this. So going back, Flash challenge. If you wrote a book about your whole life, what would be the title?
Wow. Ooh. Oh gosh, that's a good one, isn't it? What would be the title of a book about my life? Ooh. Wow, I think it would be something like I don't know, something like gratitude. So gratitude, or because I'm just trying to find the word. I probably need more time to give you an answer, but what I'm trying to describe would be a sense. I have a feeling of, maybe something like gift, like the gift.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm like a vase that you put flowers in, like a vase.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that this singing career and my voice has been placed in the vase, and me, my presence, my body, Tarzan. It's like a casing of the gift that's been placed inside of me. And so I think something like grateful for the gifts kind of thing. I can't think of the word. Oh, gift, privilege, gifts. Gift sounds good. I feel like I'm just the vessel containing this gift. And this is why when you ask me about why is one-way tickets so popular, I don't know. I think it was just a gift given to me. And all I did was let it out and share it with the world. Yeah. So it's almost like, oh, I'm a gift or chosen to deliver the gift. Oh, I've got 3 ideas now. It's either gift, chosen, or gratitude, because that's how I feel. I feel like I was chosen and given this gift, and I am grateful. That's a long title for a book, right?
Problem. It's been describing perfectly how you're feeling, and it's been a wonderful description, actually.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I feel, and I say it's a gift because, as I said to you, I started singing without singing lessons. I didn't have a plan to be a singer. We didn't expect to meet Frank Farian. I didn't know I was going to go solo. I had no idea I'd still be singing 46 years later. I started singing 46 years ago. I had no idea I would still be doing this. So, and it's because of this gift that I've been given. It's got nothing to do with me. I actually separate my voice from me. It's like, oh, somebody said, oh, Precious here. I said, okay, thank you. Yeah, it's like it doesn't belong to me. It's like it's just been given to me for me to take care of it, like a child.
That's so nice.
It's like, hey, Precious, take this. Oh, okay.
What should I do with it? Give it to the people.
Share it with the people. Absolutely, you've got it. That's it. You've got it.
What would be a message to the new generation of artists that you'd like to share? What would you teach a young artist, right, who's trying to find its way right now?
Yeah, I'd say make sure that it's something you really want to do, because it is it's very challenging, and often when you have a talent, it doesn't mean that you're going to become successful. That is the sad thing about the music industry. There are so many talented singers and they never make it. So you've got to be able to psychologically be able to deal with the disappointment. You may have the best voice in the world. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And so one of the reasons why Liz is still singing, I'm still singing, is because we've always been very passionate about what we do, And so when there is bad times, or lockdown, pandemic, we still stay ready for when it opens up again. You don't think, oh, okay, I'll give up, I'll stop. No. So you've got to have the passion for the singing, for the music. And you've got to try and be original, authentic. To be honest, I don't think I'm the best singer in the world. And I honestly mean that. I'm not just saying this. I'm not Aretha Franklin. I'm not Beyonce. I'm not all the other famous female singers. But what I was able to develop is a unique sound based upon all my influences from the people that I used to listen to from when I was a child. My mother used to have lots of records at home, and Jamaica is not far from Florida in the US. It's close to Cuba. Jamaica used to be a British colony. So we had like traditional British songs. There's gospel because my mother always made me go to church. So I grew up singing in the church. There was jazz. I was born in the 50s. So in the 60s, there was like a lot of R&B music. And then later on, there's like the Motown. And so there's a lot of music around me. And that all goes in, it all goes in, and then you stir it around, and there you go.
And
That's
you're
my
like an
thoughts.
alchemist.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
create your own recipe.
Yes.
And
And
that's
so
what,
that recipe is my sound. That's the sound of my voice. I used to love a lot of male singers. I used to love Sam Cooke. I used to love James Brown. I used to love like the OJs, all these American artists, Luther Vandross, Mahalia Jackson, Gladys Knight. Love rich alto sounding, tenor sounding voices, and all of that. I kind of like absorbed it and then came up with my sound. So I would advise a new artist to try and develop your own unique signature sound. That's important. So it's passion, be unique, and be yourself. Don't try and copy Stevie Wonder or Mick Jagger. Be you, and really work to make it as good as possible. So practice, and then get a good team around you, good managers who care about you. Make sure they don't just see you as a product to make money from. Make sure you have people around who care about you,
as a
who want to
person.
protect,
Mhm.
who want to protect you, from being used. So yeah, those are some of the things I would say. And write your own material, write your own songs as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. So that's better, because you know what you're doing when you write your own material.
Yeah. That helps you to be more original because it's coming from you, or write with other people. That also helps as well to give a different flavor, different salt, pepper, ketchup.
Mhm.
No, not ketchup.
Again, the recipe. We're coming back to the.
It is a recipe. It's like cooking.
Yeah. It's like cooking music.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it hot, right?
That's right. Put some pepper in there.
Yeah, so I think we're getting close to end our meeting and our interview. And I would like to end it with a message from you to all the people who will be watching this video on Daily Magazine on our YouTube channel, and to all your fans and to all disco fans around the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I just really want to, for those of you who've been following my career over the years, I just want to say thank you. I'm so grateful because, what I always say, it's like a deal between the artist and the public or the audience. There's no me without you. It's like a 50-50 deal. If there's no audience, then no one would ever hear me or come to a show. So I can't do it without you. And so you've been there, many of you, for decades, and I'm so thankful. And I'm looking forward to bringing new music. Hopefully not this year, then in the new year. And I just want to thank you for your loyalty. And I want you to know that I've tried to do my best. I've tried to sing my heart out. And whenever I open my mouth, it's really trying to bring joy, excitement to my audience, to connect and to express the joy of living. And I just want to share my joy with you. And so I thank you for being there with me along the way. And I hope we have many more years together. Yeah.
That's definitely for sure. Hopefully we'll get over this situation that we're facing right now, and we're going to have fun into more shows around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so with this, I'm going to say thank you for talking to me. Thank you for all your joy and, your presence. It's been very vibrant. And I'm very happy that we've done this.
Oh, listen, I'm so grateful. Thank you for finding me and for connecting with me and giving me this opportunity to connect with the people, you know, in your country. And I hope to see you again soon. There were some other shows coming up, in fact, that I should have been there again in October on the 16th, but we've heard that it's cancelled. That would have been in Bucharest. So
Yeah,
it's been cancelled
unfortunately.
for the second time.
Actually, I'm speaking to you from Bucharest, so
Yeah, I
yeah, the
should have been there
situation
on the
here is
16th, but we heard that it's not
yeah,
possible.
yeah. Unfortunately,
So
it's growing
next
right
year,
now.
we'll
Next
put it
year,
in. Next year.
for sure. Yeah, I hope it will happen finally because it's what should have been when the pandemic started. So
Yeah,
we're gonna get back and we're gonna, we're gonna get from where we left it, I think.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there in the end.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much.